What's up, former party people? This is Jerry, the one who actually combs his hair on the A is for Alcoholic podcast. Now, if you're finding value in listening to the AIFA podcast every week and you want to support sharing it with others, we invite you to become a sustaining monthly or per show contributor. Go to patreon.com/AIFA. It's super easy and it only takes a quick moment. It's about as easy as buying one of those pre-cooked space chickens from the grocery store, taking it outside, giving it a big old kiss, and kicking it into traffic. Why would you do that? Anyway, you do you, and I'll do me. Again, go to patreon.com/AIFA. And with that, people, let's start the show.
A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time.
Man, you caught me vaping there on the first one. It's almost like I got caught stealing, so just looked around the room like, oh shit, you're already counting?
Mid-vape,
dude. Can't vape on the pod, dude. Can't vape on the pod.
There's no vaping on the pod, Jerry.
No, because it just sounds like I'm smoking a crack pipe or something.
Welcome, speaking of which, welcome to the A is for Alcoholic podcast. Thank you all for joining us. Just want to say real quick, if you haven't already and if you have a moment, please rate and or review us on iTunes.
Do that.
On Google Play, on wherever you listen to this podcast. Say hello. Share your love. We will do the same when we can.
Hell yeah. We will.
Our sponsor is Green Camel Press. As always, we just bought some t-shirts. If you want a Green Camel Press t-shirt, they will be available for sale very, very soon, if not by the time this airs.
Nice.
So, yeah, you like that?
Right on. Yeah. Got the good Gildan.
Oh yeah,
Gildan's
it's
brand.
really. I don't know what the brand
Gildan
is, but it's a nice, soft cotton T-shirt. It's an apple green. It's a soft Granny Smith apple green with the camel logo on the front and the website on the back. Small, medium, large, extra large, and I think I have one XXL that I ordered.
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of XXL orders, but so we have t-shirts.
Yeah.
And A is for Alcoholic, we're still working on, what do you want to do, Jerry? We're going to do like a coffee mug or something, or
something, I don't know.
A water bottle or a
water bottle, coffee mug, I don't know.
Okay.
Fridge magnets, lapel pins. I'm not sure yet. Maybe a nice bandana.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Some old English lettering that just says like alcoholic on. A is for Alcoholic. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
We'll figure something out there. We'll offer something to people. I've got a ton of artwork sitting in an iPad, so
okay,
we can figure something out.
Awesome. So, this week is the letter C. We wanted to talk about celebrations.
Yeah.
And different kinds of celebrations, what it means to celebrate sober, which is not often, the two don't, when you think about them, they don't go hand in hand, at least
not really.
Not when you think about it from the perspective of drinking.
No.
You're
like, yo, let's have a sober party and get some cream pies.
It does. Yeah.
Anybody here want a LaCroix? Nice Mountain Dew?
Talk about our spiritual fitness.
Yeah.
It's so I guess going back to when I was drinking heavily, and even, alcoholically and still having fun, but that was the crux of all the fun, was how we were going to get alcohol, where we were going to get it, how much to make sure we had enough, or getting ready to go out and combing your hair and getting cleaned up. And when we lived together, we'd always be like getting ready to go out and like drinking, having a couple of cocktails before, pre-gaming, that kind of thing. And so the entire social network, the entire party was revolved around alcohol 100% every single time, and often every single night.
Yeah.
So
more often than often.
More often than often.
Incredibly frequently.
sometimes for days on end. I don't know how I did that sometimes and still, I mean, I was going to say and maintained a job, but I was fired from a couple.
Yeah, you would the ones you hung on to. I think they had more of a liberal policy as far as having like a lush wandering around. You know.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about one time where I this place that I started washing dishes, and I did like a little prep, and this coffee shop that Jerry and I both worked at, and we talked about how I got fired from this job eventually, but I just remember the night before dropping LSD and staying up all night, and I had to wait tables the next morning, and so I was drinking beer in the parking lot before my shift at 8 a.m., and I had this like aquamarine shirt on with this paisley tie, thinking that if I was dressed nice, and that to me was nice at 20 or 21, that nobody would notice that I was sweating profusely and smelled of malt liquor.
Yeah.
So it's that to me was a party, man. That was what celebrating was all about, and that was just Saturday night.
I love it. You're like, yo, I look like I was in a shit truck that skidded down a ravine. I think this aquamarine shirt and this tie I found will make me look less like that.
Mm-hmm. That was my rationale at 21.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, especially 21 and full of liquor. Yeah.
And LSD.
Yeah. And it's funny because when we were texting each other, I had thought of the term "celebrate" even as like a celebrating your own sobriety, right? The way I had looked at it when we were texting the terms back and forth was how a lot of the times in recovery we tend to portray it as this really difficult, sad, hard thing, which there are the really difficult, sad, hard aspects to it, you know, and that there's this fault of character that causes you to be this way, and these things that are hard and insurmountable, you know. And I always look at, and then when I thought of the word celebrate, I thought, but what about all the good parts of it, you know, and not even just the financial parts or the fiscal parts or like your family's back together, you know, but just even the celebration of just being able to appreciate life and live in that moment that something beautiful is happening and you're aware of it, you know, or something awful is happening and you're aware of it, you know. That's the way I thought of it. I thought of it more of like, you know, Eugene, Oregon yoga silhouette, like celebrate, namaste, motherfucker, you know.
Yeah, being conscious, being grateful.
Yeah.
Just being happy that at the very least that you are now beginning to, at least in early recovery for me, was that, okay, so one, I can do this for a day, and then I could do it for 2 days, and that felt really good.
Yeah, right. So that's a little celebration, right?
It's a little celebration, and then realizing that slowly but surely, and sometimes, you know, like dragging my feet, and there were nights where I was really distraught and upset, and I would cry, and I wouldn't know what to do, and what the hell am I doing, and all this stuff, and then afterwards feel a lot better about things and go, okay, so this is just, you know. And I think it switches over from that I don't know what the hell I'm doing to that feeling of like, oh, this is just what I do now. Shit.
Right.
To like, wow, what an amazing thing. What an amazing gift. What an amazing way that I get to live my life now.
Right. Right.
And I don't know, you talked about this before, and I always love your, you know, because you've been to these sober dances before, a couple of
them. Dude, those people are fucking wild, dude.
But it is not, and I think some of the literature that we prescribe to talks about, one of the phrases is, we are not a glum lots.
Yeah, I love that. We are not a glum lot. I mean, we can be.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we certainly can be.
Yeah.
But humor is a huge part of it. Enjoying life is a huge part of it. You know, there's not any. You can't just be serious about it all the time. There's no fun, and it won't last, and it won't stick. I don't think it certainly wouldn't for me if I wasn't able to laugh at myself.
Right.
And look at those.
I think the idea is once you recognize that you're getting better, you start feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I love the term recovery, because like you break a leg, you recover from that shit, and eventually you get to walk. And May break it bad enough that you walk with a limp, but you'll still get to walk eventually.
You get to walk again.
Yeah, so it's like that. I always love that term recovery because I'm just going to keep getting better. If I just keep continuing on the course I'm on my nautical terms, on my little ship, yeah, I would just keep getting better, And that's a celebration in of itself, man. I've been waking up lately at 6:30 in the morning. I've never done that in my life. I know you've been getting up at 5.
A little bit less these days, but yeah.
But I got to get my daughter ready for school, and so I would like push it to the last minute, when she first started school. And now, man, I'm in bed by like 11 o'clock, 10:30 sometimes, and I get up at 6, and I love it. And it's cold as fuck up here, but still, like, there's just something about it that I don't know, man. There's just this tiny celebration. I would have never been able to accomplish that in while drinking. I would be up till 6 in the morning. Absolutely, I'd see the sun come up. I don't know if I've said this on previous podcasts, but back in the day, if I saw the sun coming up when I was drinking, I was like, today's gonna fucking suck. Like, today's gonna be hard because I've been up this late and I've probably done some coke too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm watching the sun come up. Today is gonna be a hard day. Like, I'm gonna have to go through this shit. I'm gonna have to be hungover and feel awful. And now I get up and see the sun come up, and I'm like, yo, today might not be that bad. Actually, today will probably be great. I got a head start right now. Like, I'm ready to go,
That's one thing that I love too when I'm able to, when I don't have to work in the evenings these days, and I can get up early, and that idea of getting a head start and being prepared for the day and being
right. It's weird, man. We're like definitely in our 40s, right? I mean, because like even 30-year-old me would be like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, that's inhuman. It's unhuman. Inhumane. Unhuman.
It's unhuman.
It's just not what normal people do.
No,
Jerry.
getting up at 6:30.
Get your ass back. I had to be at work by noon, man. In my 30s, I would wake up at noon to run down to work to draw on people all day and be late. Like, you can't even be there by lunchtime, dude. Like,
yeah,
you can't even make it by lunchtime. It's lunchtime. Come on now.
Did you ever drink before work? Did you ever?
No, no, I can't even say not really. I never did because that was one of my rules. I don't know if we ever went into this, right? During my active alcoholism, I had rules. I had sets of rules, and I would follow them. And I realized in my sobriety and my recovery that I really like regiment. Like, I really like to have rules and like a regiment that I live my life by. I realize that as I get older and more recovered. But that was one of my rules. It was never drink before work, and if I woke up still drunk, call in sick. Don't go in drunk, because that means I'm not an alcoholic. It wasn't even a service to the client. It was that if I drank before work or woke up drunk and I went to work, that was a sign that my alcoholism was out of control. It was like never drink before 5, but then 5 always scooted back to like 2 or 3, depending on whether or not
what was going on that day.
Yeah. There were tons of little tiny rules like that.
I don't think that I was ever that regimented. I was a fucking wild card. It didn't matter what it was. I would drink whatever. I think tending bar all those years, and you get a little taste of everything. You're like, yeah, I don't have to get stuck in the rut with, just drinking one thing. And I near the end, I was drinking before work. I did those. I used to do the 8 a.m. beer slam. Wake up.
I've done it, but not. I had the day off.
No, I'd get up I'd wake up. I'd go to bed at 4 a.m. I'd pass out at 4 a.m. I'd wake up at 8. I'd probably pound like a beer or two, and I'd go back to sleep or I'd try to go back to sleep until 12 or 1 before I had to work.
Yeah.
And that just seemed like the right thing to do. That was fine, man. That was just part of the party. That was just part of the deal.
Yeah, it was part of the deal. Yeah.
And to think back, and I try to be, when I think about people listening to this, and either people in early recovery, people who are, I assume most people are at least interested in it.
Yeah. Maybe someone's just making dinner.
Maybe. But when I think about those times, I absolutely saw zero. I didn't even see recovery as a possibility. It was not even in the scope of thoughts other than, gosh, I really need some help, but I don't know what to do. And I guess this is just how I am and who I am. I mean, there was a huge amount of like denial, maybe not denial, but I just accepting the fact that there was no cure for
Yeah.
what ailed
This
me.
this is gonna kill you.
This is going to kill me.
This is how you die.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's crazy.
And I don't.
That's not crazy. It's crazy because I totally relate. Yeah.
But now I think, oh man, I thought about it the other morning. I woke up and I can't remember why. Maybe it was a dream or something. And I was just like, God, if I was hungover today, I wouldn't be doing this, you know?
Right.
I had this memory of waking up going, oh shit.
Shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, and I don't have to do that today.
Yeah.
And that's,
Dude, I am not familiar with my bedroom ceiling like I used to be. Because I'd lay in bed hungover and study the ceiling because I couldn't get out of bed. So I just lay there and stare at the ceiling and hope that I would die. But, you know, I couldn't tell you what mark is where on that ceiling because I'm up and out of bed. You know, or if I'm in bed, I'm going to sleep. It's not laying there in misery hoping that this is the migraine that does it, you know?
Yeah. Celebrating today is not necessarily just how fucked up can I get, how many drinks can I have, how far can I take it tonight.
Ah, man. But the celebrations are different, right, too, because of my family and stuff. So the celebrations I have now involve, like, children in a good way, you know?
Yes.
But, yeah, not an off way. We're not going down that road. That road's funny, but we're not. Anyway.
Yes.
So these celebrations now are they're more familial, or they're like, my wife works for the school district here, so we'll go to like teachers' parties. They'll throw like a Christmas party or the end of the year party. I love going to the summer parties for the teachers because it's the last day of school. It's usually right when summer starts or right before. And they're done, man. And it's like I always feel like it's all these artists who have collaborated on this thing, and now the thing is done and they get a break. And then in 3 months, they get back together again and collaborate on this thing. And they let loose, man. They get tore up. Like, it's some drunk ass teachers, you know, and I just get to be passive and watch it all. Like, I get to be an observer. To them, it's more interesting that I tattoo for a living more than anything else. And they never question why I drink or don't drink, you know, why I don't drink. No one ever asks.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to put it, that the teachers are artists that have collaborated on this big project.
It's what it feels like, right?
Third grade or fourth grade.
All the grades, right? Because they're dealing with because even if you're a third grade teacher during recess, you're dealing with like a fifth grade student, you know. You got to go. And my wife's job is to like deal with the kid who's, you know, ripped a branch off a tree and is swinging it at the other kids, you know, like. That's her job, right? But it's the other teacher's job, so they're familiar with the other kids. But yeah, I like looking at it that way. You know, I'm like, oh, these people are collaborators. They all work together, and then they all kind of put their little separate problems aside at the end of the year because they're like, we're done. I don't have to see you for 3 months, so we're good. Like,
yeah,
you know, yeah.
And you enjoy it regardless of the level of drunkenness that goes on around you. I couldn't have done it
drunk myself. Like, me drunk, I'd embarrass Megan. Or I'd want to go home. I'd get too fucked up, or they'd run out of booze. I'd be charming as fuck for about an hour and a half, and then just after that, just go down the hole. Now, them getting drunk, it doesn't bother me as much because they don't get super fucking... Like I say, they get wild, but, I mean, according to the life I've been living now, you know, they don't get wild as compared to, like, when I was at, you know, John Henry's down here at the bar in Eugene... in the world's dirtiest bathroom, you know, like, do you know what I mean? Like, taking my shirt off after hours and, like, you know, so but they do get a little loose. Some of them get a little drunk, and it's interesting to watch them because they're more, I wouldn't say all of them, but the ones I tend to gravitate toward more tend to be more refined. Not refined is the wrong word, but more reserved about their shit. Yeah, they're not us, dude. They are definitely not us. They're not us in Las Vegas. Trying to fucking 10 of us piling into like the shittiest, weirdest limousine, missing a hubcap to go sing karaoke in a fucking casino that died 20 years ago.
Right. Yeah. And I you know, when you talk about sober celebrations, or when I think about them and I think about meetings with other alcoholics and, you know, maybe eating a bunch of food and, you know, so when you go to celebrate and you go to, you know, when normies go, when regular people go, when they drink, and it's to kind of get loose and get high and get drunk,
right?
And
get caught up
socialize, and so there's a certain level of, one of the things I love now about talking with other alcoholics, meeting with other alcoholics, whether it's just going to have lunch or going to a function of some kind, is that there's a genuine level of joy. There's a genuine level of people having a good time and being happy and laughing and smiling and really actually celebrating their life and being
Yes.
proud of things that they have done and being proud of things that you have done.
Right.
And it's really...
That's the weird part, man. When they're proud of you, you're like, I barely know you and you're proud of me. Like, that still to this day is unnerving in a positive way, but still, like, I'm not used to that. You know? Yeah.
Or when people share things with you and you're like, my God, that is...
My God.
But they're so happy and relieved that even when the terrible things happen, when family members die and when shit is not going right at work or their kids are fucking up or whatever it is, there's almost this sort of wash of, and not all the time, but often this sort of wash of serenity about it or acceptance,
Acceptance. I like that word. Yeah.
So it's really great to sit and talk with these people, and it's genuine. It's a real genuine connection. I think that's the other word too, is that when I would go to bars, it was always about, because I wanted to be social, right? Because I wanted to be around people, meet people, maybe, mostly, but that wasn't really the case. I just wanted to get fucked up and to be seen and to maybe have my alcoholism, have it be accepted, have it be justified, have it be reflected in other people. And if they accepted me, that because I'm funny and loud and having a good time and I'm like big time Johnny over here.
Wild card. Yeah.
So that's what I would go for, is to get that sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Validation.
Validation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So that was the whole thing, was just to validate my alcoholism. And there was no genuine connection. There were some, but those people are my friends now still. And those people were my friends before.
Yeah.
So,
you're talking about just out at the bar, like the relationships of commerce, like what can you give me? What can I give you? Not this like, oh, we like some stuff, but most of the stuff we like is the same thing, which is booze. And what can we give each other? Yeah.
Well, if I was at the bar and the bartender, I'd be like, hey, don't worry about it. Bartender knows me. Well, the bartender doesn't really give a shit about me. The bartender knows that I'm going to tip him more than anybody else. And the reason I tip him more than anybody else is because I know that in about 35 minutes, I'm going to start acting like an asshole, and I need to pay for that privilege.
Correct. And you also know that later on during the week, he's going to wander into your bar and tip you better than anybody else. Because you know what I mean? Like one hand washes the other. So you're going to overserve him fucking Fernet or whatever, and he's going to act like a fucking asshole. Yeah, it's all a relationship of commerce. Not to say that those people aren't genuinely nice people in their own time.
Some of them can be.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, cool. What can I get off of you, and what can you get off of me?
And I don't feel that now with people when I talk to them, when I meet with them, when I go to a meeting and there's only like 3 of us, and like, oh, what the hell are we gonna do for the next hour? And it ends up being awesome and amazing, and you're like, wow, this is so great. I'm so glad we just got to talk. And so that becomes these genuine connections that I just feel so much better about myself when I'm done.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be hungover.
No, you don't have to be hungover at all.
I didn't lash out at anybody.
You don't have to sit there, the fucking ice pad on your forehead, just being like, buying Pedialyte as a grown ass man, like.
Yeah. They actually, I think Pedialyte is putting out some sort of, speaking of.
Well, it's good to stay hydrated, I guess.
Yeah, but I think they're marketing something toward
Pedialyte
hangovers.
Club Rehab, sold in Las Vegas, and they sell in Vegas in an Eiffel Tower with some vodka in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
But
good luck.
It's not necessary.
I don't know, man. That shit is so funny to me.
Well, I don't think we need to be. I don't really like the idea of the whole hangover culture anymore. I used to.
I don't either. I felt it was valuable back in the day, yeah. But I mean, now I'm like, I don't know, man. I try not to hold resentments over it, but I have this weird, like, because I don't know if I need to necessarily justify it or explain, but I'm Mexican American, right? So, I have this like weird Latino way of looking at things where when I see someone hungover and I'm like, ya te ves, yeah, you see what you did? That's now you learn. Now you learn. That's your way to learn. I mean, there's no sympathy on my end, and it's hard for it's difficult because I do want to be one of these serene, meditating fucking, you know what I mean, like 12 steppers who's like really accepting everyone. But when I see him hungover, I think it's funny as fuck. I'm like, yeah, ya te ves, like you earn that. That's what you get. Now you get to learn. But I don't know if that's necessarily. That's probably not a very positive thing to do.
Well,
it's absolutely not a positive
that's your
thing to do.
perspective, you know.
Yeah, I don't say it. I think it. I rarely say it because it's hard for me to have. It's really funny, and I don't know. I know we're kind of meandering off the path here, but I don't know if you experience this as well with people you know closely, where it's almost like it's hard for you to have an opinion about drinking things because you feel like they're thinking you're coming from a place of judgment. So I work with a handful of people who like to drink. And then I hear them say some dumb shit that, you know, like this is just generally dumb, not just dumb because they're drinking, but just generally dumb. And I can't comment on it, which is probably best for my mental health. But I also don't comment on it because I know they're like, oh, you're just fucking sober buzzing. You know what I mean? Like you're just fucking sobering on all of us. You're just being a recovering alcoholic. Of course, yeah. I forgot what they called it. It was called somebody called me sober tripping. That's what it was. This young guy I worked with, who's a good friend of mine, said something wild, and I fucking commented on it. He's like, oh, you're just sober tripping on me. And so now I've learned to like kind of pocket that because that's the last thing I want to be is like the judgmental sober guy, you know?
Yeah, I don't,
But in my brain, I'm like, of course you feel awful. It's not the flu.
Yeah.
You drank a fifth of vodka last night, stupid.
Well, and I think when people that I work in an industry where there's lots of young people in their 20s, people who like to party and like to party hard, as Andrew WK would say.
He does say that.
And these are people who will, you know, do all kinds of powders and potions and drink until
They drink it like a Harry Potter.
I don't know.
It sound like Hogwarts, like powders and potions. Go ahead.
Well,
sorry, I just pictured Hogwarts.
I'm assuming it's probably Fireball and cocaine, Jared. That's
yeah. Which they have that at Hogwarts.
They should. And so they come in to work in the evening, and they look frightful, and they're hurting, and they're in pain, and they're so hungover and talking about we did this and we went over here and we did this and we were out and then no, we didn't even go out. We just ended up over at so and so's house doing such and such and I'm just sitting there. I'm going like, I can't believe you're here. And one of the people said something like, I know that I probably gave myself alcohol poisoning and it's really not anything to give a gold star to, but I really think I earned a gold star for my work tonight.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I just said, yeah, you should give yourself a gold star. I'm glad you're still here, you know? Like I try not to say anything to it other than why would you do that if you had to work? And only because I know that I had done the exact same thing probably not even 10 years ago.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
it's difficult. I think it's like our baser selves, right?
Mm-hmm. And I don't want to sober trip on anybody because they're
sober tripping, son.
There, but by the grace of God go I think is the phrase that we need to remember.
But then they would say that to me in the meetings, and I would get resentful of it. Like I would, not as much now, but I would. I'd be like, "What are you sober tripping on me for? Like, what are you recovery tripping on me for, man? I know that I'm just one toke over the line,
get
or
off
one
my
toke
back,
away from
man.
it. I get it. Get off my back. I want to harbor a tiny resentment. But see, that's what it is, right? It's that little resentment that turns, watermelon seed into a watermelon.
I just can't get into it too much, and I don't want to. I'm not here to judge anyone. And when people are really excited, I was working with this one girl, and she's doing her dry January, and she's like, I have all this energy, and I'm just so glad it's busy tonight, and blah blah blah, and blah blah blah, and blah blah blah, and she was just like so hyper, and I said, you're not usually like this? She's like, usually I'm just hungover. Or something to that effect, you know. I don't remember exactly what she said, but something that she's like, I'm never sober like this. This is great. We cleaned the closet, me and my roommate last night, and I was like,
maybe that will lead to something more positive.
Maybe, you know. I just,
who knows?
I find the celebrations in sobriety are much more meaningful, fulfilling,
Yeah.
They it's not snorting a line or doing a shot and you get that instant like pop of like, euphoria that's immediately followed by where's more? I need more.
Where's more?
Like,
Yeah.
it's like this sort of, I get to celebrate it every day. I get to celebrate it tomorrow. I get to celebrate it right now. It's this long, it's sustainable, and it's not always, I mean, you talk about finding contentment. I don't look for necessarily euphoria anymore, but I also don't have to feel the devastation.
Right.
So I think that is such a wonderful thing to kind of find that contentment.
Yeah.
Be in a place where when something good happens to you, you can really enjoy it, relish it, enjoy the moment for what it really is, rather than be oblivious to it or miss out on it entirely. How many good, real, positive things did you miss out on because you couldn't get up in the morning?
All of them. So many of them, dude. Like, my kid's first birthday party, it wasn't even that I couldn't get up in the morning. I just got fucked up at my daughter's first birthday party. Like, I just got shit-faced, like, to the point where they were like, yeah, it's time for you to go to bed, man. You know what I mean? Like, I miss those things. Those are things I missed, I get to do other things. I don't know if they'll ever replace those things, but I get to do other newer things, and I get to experience those things, and those things have significance to me. And I mean, we only get a finite amount of time. We might as well pack a little bit of significant shit in there, other than just walking through the desert to a Walmart to buy a Fifth Avenue Williams. I mean, I don't know. Look at that pretty rock. Feel like shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Is that a snake or a tire?
You're only hoping that moment, or you're only looking forward to getting back on that couch and having a drink, and that's it.
Yeah. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying though? Like, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, fuck that. At least if I'm sitting on the couch now, I'm doing something. And
I want to another thing. Here's a great example of for those of you who listen to the podcast regularly, you probably know, and if you don't, that Jerry and I do not live in the same town, and we do not record this in the same room.
No.
So that being said, we don't see each other in person very often. In fact, the last time that we saw each other was like October in 2016.
Yeah.
And through the amazing, sobriety of myself and my girlfriend and Jerry and his wife and his family, we were able to make this weekend happen, and it was super cool. And we got to go see Mike Doty and hang out and eat some sushi. And this March, remember we went to that sushi place? Yeah.
Forgot. Anyway,
sauce on the side these days, huh, Jerry? We're counting the calories.
Just cucumber rolls for me, thank you.
But so another thing that's happening this year is that Mike Doty is out on tour doing the Ruby Vroom 25-year anniversary show. So he's doing all the songs from the Soul Coughing album. Those of you who don't know who Soul Coughing is, go check it out.
Very popular in the 90s.
Yeah. Cool. I don't know. They called it slacker jazz, but it's bigger, it's deeper, it's more interesting than that name would lend itself to it. But he's coming to Portland, so my girlfriend and I are going to fly up to Portland. We're going to meet up with Jerry and his wife, and we're going to go to a show, and we're going to go probably eat some. We're going to probably go try to find some gluten-free vegan pizza or vegetarian pizza.
Oh man, I got you. This is Portland, Oregon. We'll just walk outside. They'll probably have it at the venue.
So we are, and I wouldn't be able to do this if either of us were still drinking. This would not be in the cards to be able to.
No, not at all. No.
To be able to put together, a birthday weekend for me and my girlfriend's.
It's a birthday weekend.
It is. It is.
Yeah, and for Megan too, I guess. What's yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a little late in the month. It's
Pisces.
like, but so I mean, that's such a big deal to me to be able to get excited about going to see a show, to get excited about we're going over the weekend and we're going to stay in a hotel and we're going to go and eat out because I don't really do that too much. So I mean, those are the kinds of things, those are the kinds of celebrations and connections and just fun stuff that I get excited for.
Yeah.
And don't feel like I'm missing out because I don't have a cocktail in my hand.
Yeah.
because
Dude, yeah.
we're not beer bonging or whatever. You know what I mean? Because we're not like
Yes.
because we're not getting fucked up, so we miss the first half of the show, and then we kind of stumble in.
Yeah, we'd stumble in and then just spend the rest of it in the bar. We know how this song goes.
Mm-hmm. Be like,
Both
yeah, I've been
songs,
there.
the song he's playing and the song we're playing in the bar. You know, like, damn. Dude.
Yeah, we should just go play this on the jukebox, because, you know, I can go over there and get a cocktail instead of being stuck at the fucking beer tent or whatever. And so, that kind of stuff is really cool. Speaking of beer bongs, and I wanted to share. We got a letter from a listener, and this is somebody who Jerry and I, and we don't need to talk names here, but this is somebody who Jerry and I knew very, very well. And I think you guys were friends before I met him, but but we knew well back in our early 20s, and I remember he used to throw these awesome, house parties. He had this big, huge house with a bunch of dudes and big backyard, and there was always some dogs running around, and I think there might have been a hot tub, but I don't remember. But really great guy, and I haven't heard from him in forever, and Jerry hadn't either. And I just remember being an absolute mess at these things, and I would embarrass myself constantly. But I got this so I got this email that I wanted to share with our listeners, and it just says, John, I think and hope I am in the early stages of alcohol recovery. I don't know what the fuck it all means yet, but I'm diving in to see if I can figure it out. I have started listening to you and Jerry's podcast. It's awesome because I know you two from our younger lives, and because it's speaking to me now. I appreciate your laughter. It makes me feel good. I only just got done hearing G from last year. I am grateful for what you are doing, and well, it would be fucking stupid not to say so right now. I hope you are well, brother. So I haven't gotten, I haven't gotten any emails in a while from anybody, and that's fine. I'm not it's not a pity party on my part.
You're not fishing for emails.
But it's like that was really something special, not just because it's cool to hear that from anybody, but to hear it from somebody that we both knew. So
I think it's great that this person is. I mean, why would I not think it's great that this person is doing this? We have a whole podcast dedicated around being fucking sober and recovering and stuff, and I wish them the best. I hope they find something, you know what I mean, in it, and I hope they see something in it that'll help them get through it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's a bitch in the beginning. It's always hard. It's never easy.
No. But
so
that kind of stuff is that kind of stuff is something that is really something to celebrate. As somebody who's making a life change.
Absolutely. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna celebrate that tonight with some tacos.
Yes.
Megan made some tacos. The meat is a little suspect. I'll talk about it next week if it is. It's been frozen for, I don't know. I think it's like a chuck roast or something. It's been in our freezer for over a year, and she cooked it, and it's a little gamey. It's not gamey enough that I have to.
But it's not elk.
I'm concerned. It's not elk. No. It's beef, right? But it's a little. But now I think she's putting potatoes and tomatoes and like chile and stuff in it, so to cover up the. So I'm like even more worried because I'm like, dang, dude, if you give me food poisoning, I'm gonna be fucking bummed. She never cooks either, so I should totally, right?
What's life without a little adventure, a little risk?
Hey, you gotta risk it to get the biscuit, dude, you know?
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.